Cities across the United States to protest against the election of Donald Trump. The students who skipped class chanted, "Not my president." It marks the second week of demonstrations against the president-elect. Critics have also slammed Trump's selection of the right-winger Stephen Bannon as his chief strategist. But let's get more on the protests that are taking place, especially by students across the country now. Joining us from San Francisco is Andre Luu, External Affairs Vice President of the Associated Students of the University of California. Very good to have you with us on Al Jazeera. What are you hoping to achieve? What are students hoping to achieve by continuing these protests against the democratically elected president?
So thank you so much for having me tonight, and I definitely want to speak upon that part. So many of us here believe in progressive values and change, and this is not what we saw in the most recent election. Many of us were hoping for Hillary Clinton to win the presidency, and it is not just because she had the opportunity to really shatter this glass ceiling, but rather she really represents and embodies a lot of these progressive values that many students and millennials across the nation believe in. And for her to lose to someone like Donald Trump, who personifies everything that she is not. He embodies the hatred, the bigotry, the xenophobia, the Islamophobia, the homophobia, all of these values that we do not believe in. To see that he was elected instead really sent ripple effects across the nation, and it's erupted in the form of protests and demonstrations because students and other community members believe that we cannot stand for a president who believes in these values, and we cannot stand for a nation to reverse itself on the path of progress that President Obama has led our nation through.
Okay,
so these protests will continue.
So you're showing your opposition. They will continue until when? What is your ideal situation? What are you hoping to achieve?
And so these protests have two purposes, in my opinion. First and foremost, they are not only shedding light on so many issues, whether it deals with undocumented students who fear deportation, or Muslim students who fear Islamophobia, or even students like me who identify as LGBTQ, and how are we supposed to deal with a government with a vice president who has actively worked to discriminate these groups. And so these marginalized groups really want to bring to light a lot of these issues, but more than that, we are calling upon our local, our state, our national officials to not work with a president who believes in these values, but rather to reject them and work together as a united front to really show the entire American people and population that there is more to this country than hatred, and that our values and our concerns need to be met.
Can Donald Trump do anything to address your concerns, to even win your support and the support of those out protesting with you against his election?
Yeah, so I think, as I mentioned, he really personifies a lot of values and beliefs that we as students and millennials in general, as a majority, do not believe in. And so what we are hoping for, however, is that his government, his new cabinet, the new Congress, that they do not succumb to the rhetoric that was used to elect him, but rather to realize and to listen and to understand and to implement the changes that are necessary to meet the concerns and needs of us.
Andre Luu from the Associated Students of the University of California, joining us from San Francisco there. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a week since Donald Trump shocked the political world by winning the US presidential election. Many